Originally, it wasn't called The Last Laugh. At first, it was called Stand Up for Nothing, and it was me, it was Marty, it was Zach, it was the bartender at the time, Tanner. We all just got together on a Monday night, and we were just like, nobody's fucking here anyway. Let's start doing comedy, and we did 12 Stand Up for Nothings every other month. And I just numbered them because every single time I did it, I thought, this is the end. Nobody's going to come to this one. It was good while it lasted. And we did 12 of them. And then I talked to the owner of the bar. I was like, listen, we have something going here and it's only building up steam. I need money for it. Because I wanted to start paying performers. I wanted to start giving this a sense of legitimacy. So we built it up. And we named it The Last Laugh, mostly because we performed so late. And beyond that, that's really, it's just grown from there. I don't run it so much anymore because I have to take care of my mother who has advanced Alzheimer's, but I put it in Zach's hands because he's in a situation where he's very grounded here because he has a girlfriend, and the girlfriend has a daughter with special needs. So he's in a position where he's kind of stuck here, and I hate to say that sounds bad, because he's very happy, he's very in love, all of that, but he's rooted in the community. And he's smart and he's charismatic. He knows how to bring people in. And that's just something I've never had. I'm not charismatic. I'm not the happy leader type. I took the reins, and that's why it was my show. But I'm really happy that Zach handles it now, because he has the kind of personality and strength of character that really allows this show to grow. When I was really young, it's how I bonded with my father after the divorce. We would watch DVDs of George Carlin, and I always liked stand-up comedy because it always had a live audience. And the thing I've liked the most about comedy has always been the audience laughter, because the thing with comedy is the people who come to comedy shows, they're not happy. Everybody has a struggle. Everybody has something that's breaking them down. But, I mean, that's why we do it at the Nog. The Nog's not the nicest place I could have found for it, but it's a genuine place. And it's full of real people. And those are the people that need comedy. So, I don't know what I'm getting at here, but all I'm trying to say is I like it because in one moment, when an audience laughs, in that one moment, every single person has conquered what's bringing them down. And even if they're sad again afterwards, the problem can never take away that one moment of happiness. I actually performed it at the Daytona Playhouse before Random Acts of Insanity show. I was the assistant director at the time, and I just really wanted to do it. It was a pretty good house. It was a fantastic time. I never thought I'd do it again. One of my favorite performers is actually Kathleen Madigan, who is known mostly as an opener for Lewis Black. But she's she's an Irish Catholic, makes jokes about Irish Catholic culture. And she's fun, she's smart, she's not somebody who gains comedy through sexuality. She wasn't, she's never been much of a looker, so to speak. That sounds so bad. But all the same, she was a comic who was able to be respected just for comedy. No question about anything else. And it's a rare piece of legitimacy that a lot of female comics don't get, and it's not fair. It's absolutely not fair. Because that's a problem with comedy. Is a lot of female comics, they have to work beyond how they look before they get any credit for what they do. And there are a lot of really great comics. Rachel Feinstein, Amy Schumer, Nikki Hunter. There's a lot of them. Nikki Hunter. She just got her own show. I can't believe I'm forgetting her last name. Oh well, but that's the thing that I've been most excited about. I think is that female comics are finally starting to get the respect they deserve. Because I grew up with Gallagher, I grew up with George Carlin, I grew up with
all the humidity, pushing the water weight out of me.
Pat and Oswald, who are all great comics. But comedy is so personal. It's personal philosophy. It's not fair for only 1/2 of the population of the world to be represented in that. So yeah, a lot of my favorite comics now are female comics. My first favorite comic was Ellen DeGeneres, like way back when I was like 10. And I had a crush on her, and I don't think that's going to work out. The IFC had a troupe called The Whitest Kids You Know that gained popularity by pushing the envelope. But before them was the Upright Citizens Brigade and the Kids in the Hall. Kids in the Hall was probably one of my most formative comedy groups because I was a little too young to really know about Monty Python and all of that amazing stuff. I liked Kids in the Hall. I liked In Living Color, but In Living Color, a lot of their humor I didn't get because it just wasn't the world I was connected to. Whereas with the Kids in the Hall, they specialize in these little interludes that were just monologues. And they were the most brilliant things ever. Like my favorite one just started, "Dear person on a bicycle that I clotheslined as you passed me on the street." And it just goes on to explain how he's sorry, but he's not really sorry because everybody who bicycles on the street is an asshole. And it's fucking hilarious. But there are so many talented people that came out of Kids in the Hall. David Foley, Kevin McCormick. Was it Kevin McCormick? It's either that or the Mystery. Oh yeah, Mystery Science Theater 3000. Huge fan of that. One of the things that the RAI, Random Acts of Insanity troupe, used to do when we first started performing with Cinematique is we would make fun of movies that they just had free rights to. And we did it live. It was so much fun. So yeah, that's a lot of the stuff I like. Other than that, I watch a lot of like video game Let's Plays. Like a lot of my entertainment nowadays comes from YouTube, which is for the most part improvised. It's reactionary, and it's a lot of personality versus character. Like everybody who's on stage is working off a persona, but that's built out of their personality. So I appreciate that kind of art form. So that's where I get most of my entertainment. Love The Simpsons, loved Family Guy in its first run. For regular sitcoms, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was amazing. Like they were like nobody had any idea just how incredibly talented Will Smith was, nor did they know how weird his kids would be. But yeah, it was super fun. I loved that show. I didn't watch a lot of sitcoms. Like I watched like cartoons. I watched like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. But with sitcoms, I just watched whatever was on because that's just how it worked at the time. We didn't have tons and tons of options. We just had like 60 channels, which granted is like 2,000% more than the past generation had, but whatever. Mitch
And I
Hedberg.
direct the caterers.
Hands down.
We're not catering. I direct
The
caterers
greatest
where I do all
tragedy
my drops.
of our
And how many
time
drops
is the
I
fact
do.
that
They
Mitch
gotta eliminate each line after running it
Hedberg
all
died
and-
before
and
Twitter.
certify it
Because
right.
he would have had the
And they
best
don't get
Twitter
believe until I
account.
release it.
Because he has those very
I'm the highway
quick,
guy. I'm not even lead.
quick
Lee
line,
does all the
like
stuff.
just
He sits
one-liner
on-
style of
he-
comedy that I immensely respect. Like I can't.
doing shit with all
That's not the kind of style of comedy I do. I do longer stories or poetry, but I've always had the most respect for comedians like Mitch Hedberg, Dimitri Martin, Anthony Jeselnik. I'm trying to think of more, but people like that can just, they can have an audience rolling in under 20 words. That's amazing to me. That's the kind of comic I wanted to be, not what I ended up being. I mean, I'm happy for what I can do, but if there's anything I respect, it's the quick wit. Like
you should be ashamed for doing the work you did in there with your cable.
Rodney Dangerfield.
And I could do
Probably the
100
forerunner of all of
where's
that.
Dave passing
He was amazing.
So kiss my ass. And if you ever demean
So yeah,
my position again, I will.
Rodney Dangerfield, I'd love to have traveled with him. Mitch Hedberg, people alive today.
I've only been doing it for 2. So kiss
Patton
my ass.
Oswalt.
And he was like,
I know he's dealing with an awful tragedy right now,
you
but
stuck your foot in your mouth and shut the
he
fuck up.
represents an age of
Yeah,
comedy
because I don't-
where he
Lewis won't
survived
stand up, Jason won't stand up
a
to him.
difficult time in stand-up
Ron will,
comedy
and they're talking to me like I'm shit.
during the 90s to the mid-aughts, where it wasn't getting the kind of respect that it gets now, and certainly wasn't getting the kind of respect that it got in the 80s with like Eddie Murphy and just big name comedians. Like it took people like Dane Cook to mainstream it again. But Patton Oswalt survived through all of that, just staying nose to the grindstone. And I really appreciate his style of humor. So yeah, I'd love to perform with him. That's actually what got me into comedy. Was RAI started doing roasts, and that's when I started thinking, hey, I could do stand-up. I've been a roast master about 6 or 7 times, and I've been in probably about 10 roasts, and I love them. They're my absolute favorite style of comedy. But to answer your question, Rodney Dangerfield,
takes care of your right side of your body.
Greg Giraldo, the roast master himself, Jeffrey Ross, Gilbert Godfrey,
So if you're getting this
and
removed,
Amy Schumer. I know she gets a lot of flack, but she's clever, and I like it. I like edgier comedy.
It is backwards. Like,
I'm not saying I like offensive comedy just for the sake of being offensive,
It affects my right
but I like
side. It's the left
being
side.
able to feel like nothing is taboo.
I want to finish it.
And even if there is
You
offensive
remember what it
humor,
was when you get
Yeah, it's about
it's I still don't get mad about it because if it hurts you, it helps you to talk about it. And if nothing else,
It's awesome. What is your name?
it opens up the dialogue to help you talk to people, to help you deal with it. Like,
Female.
you know, I don't do a lot of rape humor. I have the one joke about the rape whistle, but that's about it.
Female lady.
Rape is atrocious, and some comics get a lot of flack for making jokes about it. But
I got you, love.
a lot of comedy is taking the things we're afraid of, taking the things we hate, and belittling them. So if one of my comics is a rape survivor and she wants to make rape jokes, even if they're not funny, and I'm not saying they're not funny, I'm just saying that even if they weren't funny, she's creating a dialogue. She doesn't have to hide behind something that hurt her. Like, I'll talk about my mom's Alzheimer's. I haven't performed a lot because you have to write about what you know, and the old adage is comedy is tragedy plus time. And I will one day have many great things, hopefully, to say comedy-wise about my experience. And one of the things that keeps me going is knowing that one day I'll make a joke about what I'm experiencing. And when I do, that's what's going to get me past it. When I can actually joke about it, that's what's going to get me past it. So when I see people doing edgy humor, I see people working past it. I don't see, and I've heard tasteless jokes. It's fine, but I've never been put in a situation where I've had to look on stage at somebody glorifying something horrible. They've made jokes, but I've never seen somebody on stage glorify racism or sexism or assault or bigotry or whatever.
Well, when fear starts to
I think that's, I know it's not the question you asked, but that's probably my greatest fear, is coming across that and seeing it on my stage. I worked as a director for sketch comedy, and I'd love to get back into that. I just haven't had the time. I like theater. That's really where I got my start. If I'm being completely honest, I got my start in performing by doing backyard wrestling, but I'm kind of out of that now. But I miss live theater. The one thing I don't think I can ever do, even though I have done it, is film. I don't like it. Like the whole thing for performing for me is the energy from the audience. And without that, I'm lost. Hopefully by then, I will have moved on with what I'm dealing with now, and I can actually pursue it wholeheartedly for, the first time ever. I don't know how far I'll get, but I'm really excited to have the chance to try. I got a Facebook. I'm an administrator for The Last Laugh. It's mostly in Zach's hands now, but I'm going to try to perform more. So if you want to see me, come out to the shows at the Nog. I still perform with Random Acts of Insanity that do their shows at Cinematique on Beach Street. And yeah, just keep your eye out for local talent, local comedians. That's the people that need the support. Hello, I'm Scott Harrell. Please check out my interview on acutiepie.com.